You're watching the Tech. It's the show of all the good top 10 and top 5 lists. Coming up, top 10 celebrity favorite top 5 games. Also, the top 3 best beards ever on a character in a game with the soundtrack. Stay tuned. That's what I feel like that's what journalism has become. Stay tuned for the top 7 hairdos this season in video games with people that wear high heels while also wearing pants. Like, good. I'm dying. Just click the hell out of that. I'm going to click on that all day long.
I totally went somewhere else with that. I was like, coming up, film at 6, this guy was playing in a vat of used needles and got hepatitis. Well, film at 11.
Those stories always start with, like, wherever the guy's from and then man. Florida man plays in vat with needles. Minnesota man eats chainsaw while on a date with hot, green-skinned Martian. I have no idea. Okay, so we have some more shirts. I keep ordering freaking shirts. I'm ordering like 300 a week. So you guys are awesome. We are taking over district lines. We have girl shirts now. So if you are a girl or if you're a man that fancies wearing women's clothing, well, by all means, feel free to go and grab yourself a girl shirt. Also, don't forget the game deals. BioShock is $10.87 and a free copy of Mafia. Mafia 2 is pretty good. All right, let's get right into some things. Tesla has entered the race, and they're going to be building a self-driving car. They've given themselves a 3-year deadline. That's extremely ambitious, but here's the deal. It's only going to be 90% automated. So you can't, like, sit in the back seat, smoke cigars, and sleep. And I wouldn't smoke cigars and sleep at the same time anyway because you may burn your car down. But you get the idea. You have to, like, monitor it 10% of the time. And I guess that's, one of the things that they're going to be doing in 3 years. But over the next 10, 15 years, maybe they'll make a self-driving car like Google. And
that'll be good for interstate driving.
That'd be amazing. You sit in the back seat and use your laptop, get work done. That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
I don't think you can switch seats while you're driving.
I don't think it's their intention that you switch.
Yeah, I don't think that it's your intention that you can switch seats.
I'm not going to sign up for these things until I can sit in the back seat, have coffee, breakfast, and work. Then I'll just never be home. I'll just be like driving around or whatever. I'll just drive around for no reason. Car, take me around the middle of nowhere, and I'll do my work in the back seat.
I can see executives doing that. It's like, I'm going to, forward my calls to the car. I'm going to go to the car and have a thinking meeting. And
well, like they do right now with their yachts, Cars.
I was thinking Google with like their meeting bike or whatever.
Yeah.
This is like the, evil corporation who's all bent on fossil fuels version of the bike meeting thing.
They can burn fossil fuels while they do their meetings. Excellent.
All right, they would have it no other way.
The RIAA is a bit out of control as usual, but they've kind of been quiet for a while, but they just came out and now they're just slinging mud everywhere. So let's talk about all this mud they're slinging, and let's talk about how they're afraid of technology and all that sort of thing like we always do. So the RIAA, first off, they want web browsers to block pirate sites. So they've been, of course, like, yelling at Google and stuff, and they say that Google needs to do more and everyone needs to do more, and it's almost everyone else's job to police the content that they have nothing to do with, like Google has nothing to do with the content that's on their search engine. They want them to police that, and now they want them to fit Chrome with some sort of a blocking system for infringing sites. That not only do they want Chrome to block the sites, but they want Chrome to send people to sources for legitimate sites. So Google would have to hire people to do this, hire people to build this, hire people to monitor this. And then they would have to build a system in which if someone typed, infringing content, whatever it is, like the new Hoobastank album or whatever the crap you guys listen to, they typed that into Google. It took them to a different store, like the Amazon Music Store or something nice and flowery. What's your take on this?
Well, okay. It's not really about filtering even. It's about owning the keywords. What they want to do is own the keywords, so that when you put in the keywords, they get to control the result. That's what this is really about.
Yeah. And well, the problem with owning those keywords is there are so many legitimate files that are going to be using the same keywords. So we're going to have the same mess we had with the DMCA takedown notices that continue to take down lots of legitimate content, and also like the YouTube system, the YouTube file system. What's it called? The YouTube copyright, whatever it is. It just looks for content that's infringing, and it takes down so much legitimate content based upon these keywords and based upon these identifying factors. So that's what they want. They want to own all those ridiculous keywords, but that's going to be a mess. They can't do that. Let me have an article here on TechDirt that just further goes on to show how the MPAA and the RIAA, they're blaming Google for their own inability to innovate, and that's exactly what they're doing. They just keep yelling and screaming at Google because of piracy. They're essentially blaming Google for the piracy because Google has not done enough to take infringing links off of their search engine. So therefore, it's Google's fault that someone at their house looked up something on the Pirate Bay. And what's really funny, the top 8 searches that bring people to the Pirate Bay are all different iterations of the Pirate Bay, the piratebay.org, TPB. That's what people are searching and to get to the Pirate Bay. And the RIAA and the MPA are angry with Google because those searches go to what people are searching for. I mean, really, they're typing the piratebay.org into Google. They could just as easily type that into, the URL area. But people are lazy, and that's just what people do nowadays. They use the Google bar as almost like the URL bar.
We were just mocking China for having a memory hole about Tiananmen Square, so it's kind of funny what we're doing here.
Well, what they want us to do. I mean, it's kind of absurd. And something that's really funny, with all the stuff that they have done, and they've continually blamed piracy for the sales going down. The RIAA music, the sales keep going down and down and down. But lately, piracy has plunged. And the funny thing is, sales have not gone up as a result. So that kind of makes me think their logic is a little bit flawed.
Sales and piracy are down.
It's all
10%
down.
plus.
Now, let's talk about what's really going on here. Independent music that's not monitored by the RIAA, that stuff is going up. And also, bands are learning to connect with, the people that want the music on websites like Bandcamp. Here's Zweihander. It's what it's my little chip tune, 8-bit, fake bit, whatever you want to call it, type music. And I've got another album coming out pretty soon, and I'm not going to be registered on the RIAA or any crap like that. They're not going to be tracking the sales of what we're doing here. It's all going to be straight to you guys. I'm going to be putting it on Bandcamp. You guys can grab it there. It'll be on Google Music and whatever else. I'll even put it on Amazon, but I'm doing it all myself. So that's the big problem right now. And their systems, when they put them into place, they're not just going to shut down the regular music. They're going to shut down a lot of the independent artists as well. And that's the big problem here, is they want too much control over this, and they're losing control. They're a middleman. I mean, most of the big record producers out there, the MPAA, and all the different associated brands, a lot of those guys are middlemen, and they're becoming irrelevant, and they're freaking out. So that's really what's happening here. I mean, do you agree?
No, yeah. I think that we get into a situation where when you're searching for something, and like if you're searching, it's like, I want to find music like Creedence Clearwater Revival. It's like, oh my God, you're a pirate, and it shuts you down. And that's really more about control than about controlling piracy. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the cost of production for these things now is low, and the ease of reaching an audience is very easy. So you combine those two things, and you can have independent music production that's very good. Now, does some music production still require a studio and a large capital investment? Sure, but other companies are innovating in that sector, and it's sort of leaving the old guard companies out in the cold. So piracy is not the problem, and there's no reason that we need to modify this system over some perceived piracy threat, because it will be abused. It's already being abused. The Torrent Freak article talks about the collateral damage from this.
It's really, I mean, to me, it's no wonder why people, why music sales are going down, because look at the music they're producing. The mainstream music just absolutely sucks. I mean, you have to go and look for independent music if you want something that's good. There's just no other way around it. It's very seldom these days that something comes out that's mainstream that actually requires skill and talent and all that sort of thing. Most of it's made by the same 5 guys in a room in California. Yeah, or Tennessee if it's country. All right, Calico. Let's talk about Google's mysterious new health and aging project. So Google has I guess they created a new company called Calico, and this company is going to be working on anti-aging technology. I think this is the first step to Google really becoming Skynet. I mean, we've already had, well, maybe not first step, the seventh step, okay?
I'm not thinking Skynet. I'm thinking the Umbrella Corporation.
Could be some sort of a combination of both. We're going to have like cyborg android zombies. Man, the movie ideas that are going to come out of this. The interesting thing here is that they've hired for their CEO Art Levinson. Art Levinson is the chairman of Apple, one of the biggest competitors of Google. So with this, Google is not looking at any of their other projects. They're looking only at what they're doing here, and they've decided he would be the best person for the job. He did used to be the CEO of Gene Corp or Gene Tech. I don't know, Genentech, I don't know what it is. I forgot, somewhere in the article here. He used to be the CEO of a company that did some gene research. So that's going to be good. They've also, they've hired Captain Singularity, Kurzweil. So they also released a statement to their investors, and they said, guys, if we start investing in some really weird things, do not be alarmed. You may live forever. That's not exactly what they said, but that may be tied in there. So they're going to be investing in some weird things, and they also wanted to reiterate that, listen, this is a small thing for us. Our core investments are still over here. So I don't know. What do you make of all this?
I think that Google is very serious about living forever, and that could be the artificial singularity, that could be gene therapy, that could be pure genetics. It could be a combination of technology and bioengineering, but they're very serious about living forever.
Larry Page might end up becoming Krang.
From the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, he'll be Krang. Would that make Sergey Shredder in the future?
Yes.
We need those turtles.
That is how that will happen, yes. Man, can you imagine if you could get pet Ninja Turtles? We would make billions of dollars.
Okay, we're going to work on that while they work on becoming Krang and Shredder. Then they can partner with the NSA and develop a drone army. Wow. Speaking of the NSA director has built himself a really awesome Starship Enterprise bridge replica because he wanted to. That's why. Because he has the freaking budget and he wanted to. This is ridiculous. I mean, I wonder if they serve drinks on this. I guess if you've got the budget, but I wonder if they're using our tax dollars for this. We need to make some phone calls. This week, we are brought to you by Squarespace. So, Wendell, you've used this, and you did a little tutorial, and we played it a week ago, but, you guys actually signed up for it. So I'm curious. All of you guys that signed up for this, let us know what you think of it in the comments, and also on our website. If you've made something or made a website with it, post a link. By all means, we'll all check it out and tell you what we think of it. So that could be kind of cool, but right now it's something that you've used on a couple projects, Wendell, so go ahead and tell them about it. Basically,
in a nutshell, you can have a really nice professional looking website up and running in just a few minutes. And, if you're a gearhead, maybe this is not for you, but if you know somebody that runs a restaurant or that has a portfolio or they just want to put a blog online and they need something that's turnkey, easy, but also still very professional and very custom looking, Squarespace.com seems like it's a pretty good solution. This is a little site that we put together in about 5 minutes. It's based on one of the sample sites for a restaurant, but I was really impressed with how well this came out. With a restaurant and a lot of sites, content is king, and you don't really necessarily need to hire a designer or somebody and do some totally custom something from the get-go. One other neat thing is that for developers, you can sign up and they'll give you SFTP and GET access for full control. So you can mess with the HTML and CSS and do a totally custom template. This is a really powerful feature. So if you guys want to check it out and learn more, head on over to squarespace.com. They've got over 20 award-winning themes that you can use as a basis before customizing for your site. They've got 24/7 support, so if you guys get stuck or you need anything, you can do that. And it's just $8 a month if you decide to sign up. With the offer code TechSyndicate9, you'll get 20% off your first purchase. So check them out. Yeah, the bottom line is that, you get a free trial and all that, but after you have it, you do have to pay for it. And, if you have any legitimate website, you're going to be paying for it. So if it's something that's easy and it's going to save you time, you'll make your money back because that's the way the web works. And that's the beautiful thing about PCs is you guys can make a lot of money on PCs. So take a look at it. be sure to use coupon code TechSyndicate9 for 20% off. And if you pay for a year, they'll give you your domain name for free.
That's what I would do. Also in NSA news, the secret courts have okayed the NSA phone data collections, and they've done this based upon older court cases. And the judge in this case, with their ruling, they wrote a really interesting ruling because it's in English. It's not in like legal speak. So Wendell, go ahead and tell us about this for just a bit.
Okay, so the Tech Dirt article was talking about the secret court ruling, but it didn't really go into detail, and it's really interesting because it's a 29-page ruling, and the judge actually wrote the ruling so that I think that a normal American person could read it and understand it. It does not seem to have as much legalese as a normal ruling, which is interesting. And in that ruling, he says, look, case law, precedent, I can't really rule any other way. It was established in a court case in the 70s that whatever number you're dialing from your phone is not really protected information. It's not public information, but it's not really information that you expect to be private either, because you have to have the phone company handle your phone call.
And that would have been a lot of fun back in the day. Think about it, calling up the phone company and just, you're in a rage because something's gone wrong, and you're like, get me Benny, get him now. You get to tell someone to put someone on the line. I mean,
I'm pretty sure we'd already implemented the touch-tone telephone system by
the 70s. Yeah, but
even in the
before
1920s, you could totally talk to Betty down at the operator station or whatever.
Yeah, Betty will hook you up with Benny, and then you can yell at him, and she may or may not listen in because she's got stuff to do. She's got to connect Terrence to Lowell.
And there's information like, information on postcards is not considered private information and things like that. So with that ruling, that to me says that for the internet and digital information, especially information without encryption, we need explicit protections in the law, because if you take those rulings to the next logical step, it is not illegal for them to spy on unencrypted communication. And that's kind of disturbing because you would think that that wouldn't be the case. So this is kind of interesting in the ruling. And it's really revealing, and I think that, if you care about this kind of thing, you should go read the ruling to understand, because it's very logical and it's very cut. I don't get the feeling that the judge is, trying to spin an agenda here, which is pretty unusual. It seems like a very straightforward ruling, and to me signals how important it is that we need to get our Congress critters to write a law to protect the data.
Well, they don't like that kind of thing.
The Popat article is interesting just because he talks about how it is so cut and dried that the lawyers for the government, for the NSA, and the director of the NSA have been lying, and systematically lying, which, if it were not the government, it would be considered a conspiracy. And so the summary of that article is in the title. A government's contempt for you is a measure of its impunity. Well, and it's really a sobering article.
So Brad Heath he's a journalist with USA Today, and he's writing an article, and he was submitting some freedom of information requests, but the response he was getting was, completely arrogant. They're like, we are not going to respond to your requests because we don't like the direction that you're going with your article, and we're going to respond to requests from people who, quote unquote, are going to be reliable fluffers of the security state. Now that's a quote from the Popat, from Ken White from Popat, not from anyone from the NSA or anything like that. But that's pretty much what's going on right now. They're denying freedom of information requests, which they really legally can't do. You just have to release that information. But they're denying them just because they don't agree with the direction that a journalist or a person is going in.
Well, if you really want to be cynical about it, they are leaking information like the Valerie Plame thing when it serves them, and when information is leaked and they don't like it, they accuse you of treason. So that's kind of Cold War area Soviet state for me.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of people that feel the same way. So what's going on right now is there's a rally that's going to be happening in Washington D.C. on the 26th this year, and it's a rally against mass surveillance. You can sign up to attend right now. There are 569,000 people. There'll probably be 600,000 or 700,000 by the time you guys watch this, because after they see our video, about 300,000 people are going to sign up, even though 50,000 only watch it. But anyway,
what you guys are looking at is the next Occupy Wall Street sign up watch list.
I swear they misspelled the founder of Reddit, Alexis Anolan. That's not how you spell it. I'm going to Google this real quick because they misspelled that name. Alexis, yeah, that's how you spell it there. not the way they spelled it. But anyway, Will Wheaton is going to be there. And
Enjoy your pepper spray, Will Wheaton.
yeah, Will Wheaton. I'm very sorry about the pepper spray. Should I go down and take a look at this?
I think we ought to. It would be nice, but then we'll be on another list.
October 26th. I was maybe going to be in Canada, but this is kind of interesting. Yeah, maybe we should go down to there. Let me know how many of you guys are going to go. You know, maybe we'll get together and sell lemonade or something.
And promptly be arrested for operating a business without a permit.
Yeah. Let's talk about Verizon, because last week we talked about how much they've lost their minds, and this week we find out that they've lost their mind in some other areas as well. They just cannot find their mind. So they, on the same day that it was revealed that Verizon has never contested a request from the NSA. The NSA shows up and they're like, hey guys, you know, my house is your house. Just have whatever you like. Just we'll be in the other room, not even looking. So Verizon never questions the NSA. They just give them whatever they want. On the same day that that's revealed, they also mock other internet companies like Google for doing the same thing. And while they were mocking Google, they were saying things like, oh yeah, they stand up and wave their arms around and release press releases, and they issue press releases just so that they can look good. But you know, they didn't mention the fact that Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft are suing the government. They made it sound like they're just doing it for publicity. If they were just doing it for publicity, do you think that Google would actually be suing the government, or Yahoo or Microsoft, any of those companies would actually be suing the government? I don't know. I mean, do they need the publicity that bad?
Well, the secret court that ruling that we were talking about, the 29-page ruling,
yeah,
that is specifically about telephone companies. And so Google's a different kind of company, I guess. And so the judge didn't really look at that. He was just looking at communications companies that were saying, no, we can't give you this data. And so he didn't really consider that Google and Yahoo were actually, you know, trying to fight it. And so here we have Verizon actually mocking them for fighting it, which is, you know, just Verizon.
Really? Hell, Verizon. Come on. So, we'll mention this quickly, but Linus Torvalds.
Somebody asked the question: has the NSA or somebody else approached you about putting a backdoor in the Linux kernel? And he said no while he was shaking his head yes.
No, that's just Linus or Linus. That's just the way he is. But does that mean that it actually happened, or that it didn't happen? I don't know. He could have been just joking around.
I think it was probably just Linus joking around. I could be wrong, but that's his sense of humor.
In the military right now, they've got drones and they've got robots, like, you know, the ones that go in and sniff out bombs and that sort of thing. And they started naming them, and they've almost become pets, and they're growing empathetic towards their military robots. Do you find this troubling?
I don't know that I find it troubling, but I did think that there was a Reddit article about this, or a similar story, and in the Reddit thread they were talking about the same kind of thing, and people actually in the service popped up. And they said, yeah, we named our robot. We had a funeral for it when it got blown up. And there is definitely an emotional attachment there. But I think that's just we as human beings form emotional attachments. And I would be more worried about soldiers that couldn't form emotional attachments than I am soldiers that are forming attachments to inanimate objects. But I think that they need to remind themselves that it's better that the robot get blown up than them, and they should never hesitate on sending a robot into battle. And so maybe that'll need some coaching.
I don't know. I'm a bit stoic about this kind of thing. Like pet rocks, back in the day, I was always like, what the hell are you guys doing with a pet rock? Throw that thing. Just pick it up and throw it and get on with your lives. I do not understand having any sort of attachment to an inanimate object. It has no feelings. It has no emotions. Maybe if we get to the point in AI where the AI becomes self-aware, then maybe I'll feel something for something that's self-aware, but even then it doesn't bleed.
Well, I think that we think that way because we understand what it is. But, they don't, these soldiers are able to sort of anthropomorphize because the behavior is just complex enough that they can relate to it.
I don't know, man. That troubles me. It troubles me deeply.
Well, and the reason that it's okay with an AI is because we imagine that an AI can have things like feel pain and blah blah blah. But the coming apocalypse, what happens when somebody invents an amoral AI? I mean, what if you had an amoral AI? That's a really, really dangerous thing.
We've got AI out there selling drugs to the kids.
I think it'll be so evil that we can't even imagine
Yeah, I
how
don't
evil
think
it would
it'll be
be
like
because
that.
it'll just be like survival, basically.
It'll make life a lot more interesting.
You know, it's like in the Terminator movies. It's like, you know, what's Skynet's motivation? Because it seems more motivated than just survival or your, you know, the Matrix or whatever. And I think it's more than just, you know, you have that amoral AI, and that's what you get when you've got an amoral AI.
I feel like it's getting very dark in here. It just keeps getting darker as we do this. That's all right. It's 7 o'clock. What's the best comment in source code you have ever encountered? This is a really funny, I guess, just Stack Overflow. And people are posting different comments they found in their source code. There may be some Easter eggs in our source code. You may dig through it if you like. Maybe there are, maybe they're not. I don't know. We did the redesign on the website. Did they keep my Easter eggs or are they gone now?
I don't know. They're still floating around, I think, some of them.
Some of them maybe, hopefully.
I think we still have asteroids there somewhere, too.
What's your favorite one?
From this Stack Overflow thread, they're all classic. You know, the most upvoted one is, Dear Maintainer, once you are done trying to optimize this routine and have realized what a terrible mistake that was, please increment the following counter as a warning to the next guy, and then it's total hours wasted here equals 42.
My favorite one is after the stop, there's a comment, hammer time. I don't know. Because that one's just so asinine. Anyway, let's talk about hardware. You guys should go and take a look at these. Post your favorite one in the comments, or don't. Or let us know on our website. There's a link in the description. What the funniest thing you guys have ever seen in the comments of source code. All right, Apple, the Apple chiefs like Tim Cook and all those guys, they've gotten together and they're discussing strategy, market share, because the market share is pretty far down on the iPhones, but they're saying, hey, don't worry. And Bloomberg Business Week is saying that Apple's doomed. So what do you think about all this?
I think Apple's doomed is a bit sensationalist, but
Yeah.
the crux of the article is that, you know, they're selling this ridiculously expensive iPhone 5S to emerging markets, and it's way too expensive for emerging markets. Meanwhile, you have Tim Cook saying, well, you know, Android is outselling us, but if you look at browser demographics and how much mobile traffic is attributable to mobile Safari, then we've got the lion's share there, or we've got, you know, a significant percentage there.
That tells me a couple different things. That tells me that Apple users are not as serious and they're using their tablets and their phones in their homes instead of using their PCs because they don't really have any work to do. They're just going to jerk around all day. It also tells me that those are the guys that I do not want to go downtown and hang out with because they're always going to be staring at their damn phones. I want the guys that are not using their phones all day long. That's the people I want to hang out with. That's totally like out there, but, you know, different.
Well, you know, I found that when you've got an app like Tasker is a really cool Android app. And you can basically teach your phone to do things automatically based on, you know, behavioral input or voice cues or where you are or what time of day it is and things like that. And I found that unless I'm looking up a specific thing on my phone, which I don't really want to do because it's using my phone, which is a small screen, that the phone just does stuff automatically. So I don't really want to play on my phone.
Well, I kind of want that now.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
This is kind of funny. There's a community bounty to hack an iPhone 5S. Now, here's the way this works. The iPhone 5... there's this thing on it where you can, you know, log in with your thumbprint, and right now the bounty is at what 13,000 or something.
Yeah, 13,000. Something
ridiculous. And what they want to do is they want to log into an iPhone using a thumbprint on a beer glass or something like that. So the first person that can like log in using a fingerprint or a thumbprint on a beer glass wins the bounty. So maybe we should throw some money at that. That's hilarious, but it's also troubling that it could actually work.
Yeah, because Apple has so far been like, oh, this is very secure and you're not going to be able to do anything with it. And
well, I guess we shall see what happens there. Intel has said that it is the year of the Linux desktop. And let me translate this for you. This is the year that Intel will benefit from Linux desktops being out there because it has always been the year of the Linux. Well, not so much the desktop, but they want it to be the year of the Linux desktop because they've got Chromebooks coming out that, you know, have Intel processors, whether it's the the very efficient Haswells or whether it's the Atoms. They're going to be popping up in laptops, tablets, and also the Chromebooks. Now, in the background, we've all been using Linux, and it's kind of ironic that a lot of people that are on Windows and iOS or anything, whenever they access Google or Facebook or whatever, they're on Linux anyway. They're just on it through the web. But now they're going to be on it in real life. And we have Gabe Newell, who also said that Linux is the future of gaming. And there's going to be some new hardware coming out soon. And this is a strange thing to say because right now gaming on Linux is like 1% of the market. But it looks like Steam is going to start pushing people towards Linux. Do you think it'll be big enough to actually, I mean, make it so that Linux becomes the future of gaming?
I'm oversimplifying, and I'm going to get a lot of hate mail in my inbox for saying this. But
yeah, it'd be fun to read.
Yeah, well, no. Oh, God, no. The problem with Linux is that X11 is too complicated for what it does. And various people have done things to fix those problems over the years with like the direct render manager and blah, blah, blah. But here, independently, we have about 3 major projects I can think of off the top of my head that are working toward dramatically improving the graphics situation. You know, Wayland and those things. And so Ubuntu's sort of doing its own thing. Calico or whatever is doing their own thing. And then you have, I think, there's at least 2 other big projects, and they're all sort of in agreement that it's bad, but they're all not really working together. They're all doing a sort of a graphics thing, and the graphics standardization is kind of important.
I hate to say this because the whole essence and idea of Linux is that it shouldn't be unified. It should be a million different flavors for a million different people. But I kind of have a feeling like there's going to have to be something like Ubuntu that's going to have to become a little bit more unified before it can be mainstream enough to have the lion's share market of gaming.
I think that the standardization is going to have to happen at a lower level so that you're not really dealing with as much difference across distributions. And that's not even, you know, the old argument of, you know, GNOME versus KDE. It's not even that. We're talking low level, you know, vendor specific drivers and vendor specific issues with the video architecture and video acceleration. But there was a Chrome, like the Chrome dev team talked about how much time is wasted waiting for a widget to draw on a web page when they're rendering with Chrome. It is crazy to overhead there.
Well, yeah, because we're still using the same stuff from 15 years ago, right?
Pretty much. I mean, that's not exactly fair. That's what's going to get us hate mail.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically.
we're trying to oversimplify because we don't have all night to go into this. But all right, let's move on and talk about some hardware now. The GTX 760 DirectCU Mini has been launched from ASUS, and there's some benchmarks out here. But if you're looking for a really, really, really small 760, you might want to take a look at that one. It's pretty damn fast, and it's freaking tiny, so it'll fit into just about any ITX case. The 760 already that they had was already smaller than the standard one, but this one's even smaller. On the 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern, AMD is going to be announcing their new GPUs, which are probably going to be the 9 series, it looks like. So we'll have to take a look at that and find out what they're doing with their new GPUs. So if you're about to buy a graphics card, maybe hold off for a couple days, see what comes out from them, because as soon as they announce this, it's likely going to drive the price of the 7 series cards down. That's my guess, but we'll see. Gigabyte has a couple new gaming grade laptops that are extremely portable. I mean, they're like fat Ultrabooks. They're a little bit thicker than an Ultrabook, but I mean, we've got take a look at the P34G. That one has a quad core i7 and a GTX 760M. It's 14 inches, weighs 1.67 kilograms. It's 21 millimeters thick, has a 1 terabyte hard drive, and a 256 and it has a 256 gigabyte mSATA SSD. That thing's pretty ridiculous. 1080p display as well. And then you've got the 15-inch here as well, which is a little bit more powerful with a 765M and a 512 gigabyte mSATA drive. These things look really nice.
I like that they have a reasonable amount of graphics horsepower and they're upgradable.
Yeah, IPS display on this one as well. This is nice for the size. That's extremely nice. All right, let's talk about gaming, shall we? The homebrew corner. So a bunch of dudes. Sonic the Hedgehog. They've redone Sonic the Hedgehog for the Atari 2600. I don't know why they did this, but it's ridiculous. You guys can go and take a look at these videos, but yeah, it's
they
beyond
did it because
silly.
it had to be done.
I don't think that's a valid reason because it had to happen. Oh god,
Yeah.
this troubles me. Why does this exist?
I think it's awesome. I mean, just watching the videos is awesome. I don't feel compelled to download and run it though.
No, I have no. Oh god, That's ridiculous. Yamachi is dead. He turned Nintendo from what they were into the world-leading, or a world-leading video games company. He's dead at 85. So, moment of silence, and I'm going to have a drink in his honor. You know, he was at the helm for some of my favorite games of all time. I know I'm a diehard PC gamer, but, you know, a lot of times you'll find PC gamers that are like, what do you play? I play PC and first-party Nintendo games. You cannot beat Zelda and Mario, man. And Metroid. Holy freak, Metroid.
Yeah, Metroid was an amazing game the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, all the Metroid games were really good. Okay, so, you know, the Humble Bundle's been getting kind of mainstream lately. So there's a new, I guess, package you can buy out called the Experimental Game Pack. Now, the first one is $15, and they're more experimental, less mainstream, because, I mean, sometimes you get, like, you know, real indie games with the Humble Bundle, but a lot of times lately you're getting more mainstream titles that just, you know, want to make a buck, or they, like the THQ bundle, they'll need, you know, we need to save THQ, let's do something. This is all experimental stuff here. I mean, take a look at that. There's a lot of cool games here. We always have the most innovative, the quirkiest, the strangest, and the most experimental games right here first. And also, if you're an indie developer, it's all happening on PC. I know there's some indie tools for you guys to release games on PlayStation and also on Xbox, but it's more expensive. The real, you know, down-to-earth, grassroots stuff is happening on PC. And so you guys will get some of that flavor before it, you know, becomes bigger and more mainstream. I guess we kind of have to talk about Grand Theft Auto, don't we?
Yeah, it didn't make $800 million in its first day.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what was going to happen anyway. So Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. This is kind of funny. I brought this up just because it was silly. But a gamer was stabbed and robbed in London. He bought Grand Theft Auto. You know, he went to like the midnight, 12 a.m. Sale. He picked up Grand Theft Auto, and he was stabbed, hit with a brick, and robbed. That's how much people want to play this game. I mean, you'd think if someone was going to commit a heinous crime like that, you'd think they would steal like a diamond-studded watch or something, not a $59 game. That's just stupidity on a level I can't even comprehend, besides the fact that it's kind of ironic that he's, you know, stabbing and throwing bricks at someone so he can get a game, go home and stab people and throw bricks at people.
What we don't know is that was the guy who was going to write the Atari 2600 version of Grand Theft Auto 5, and somebody from the future came back to stop him.
I'm getting a headache. All right, I want you guys to take a look at this. So GTA 5 came out. It's not on PC yet, but hey, we've got GTA 4, and our graphics, now that there's a patch for 4K and tons of lighting effects and stuff, texture packs, the graphics on GTA 4 on PC destroy the graphics on GTA 5 on console. It's photorealistic. It's ridiculous.
It is kind of insane.
I'm going to flip through some of these. So if you're running a PC that can handle it, go ahead and grab some of these. The links are in the description. Just go ahead and grab some of those. And that's pretty much it for this week, ending with GTA 5. Or GTA 4 on PC with absurd graphics. God, those are absurd. The only thing I'll say is that GTA 5 does look like a better game, and it also has a bigger game world, so that's nice as well. All right, everybody, it's almost dark in here. I'm looking really dark in the viewfinder, so subscribe and give us a closing statement. You got anything, Wendell?
You guys should really subscribe. I don't know. Spread the word. Tell your friends.
You know, I was talking to Kane, and he said he feels like a lot of people see Tech Syndicate as like a secret. It's like their own thing, and they don't tell a lot of people about it. They like watch it. Maybe it's a guilty pleasure. Maybe it's a secret. But feel free to share this, guys. I mean, you guys can share it. It's okay if we get bigger. A lot of people are worried about things getting big and becoming spoiled and whatnot. So that's all we have this week. Subscribe. God, it got dark in here.
Yeah, it's pitch black. I mean, even my connection is like, I can't see anything. I can see the light in the window. That's about it.
We will see you guys next week. drinking Hop Stupid with STOO. They're so stupid they can't even spell stupid.